This is Mrs. M, and I'm reading one of my favorite books, Bedtime for Francis. Bedtime for Francis is written by Russell Hoban, and the pictures are by Garth Williams, who also drew the pictures of the beloved book Charlotte's Web. Bedtime for Francis. The big hand of the clock was at 12. The little hand was at 7. It was 7 o'clock, and it was bedtime for Francis. Mother said, "It is time for bed." Father said, "It is time for bed." Francis said, "I want a glass of milk." "All right," said Father. "All right," said Mother. "You may have a glass of milk." Francis drank her milk. "Carry me to my room, Father," said Francis. "All right," said Father. "All right," said Father. "Piggyback," said Francis. So Father carried her piggyback to her room. Father kissed Francis good night. Mother kissed Francis good night. Francis said, "May I sleep with my teddy bear?" Father gave her the teddy bear. Francis said, "May I sleep with my doll too?" Mother gave her the doll. "Good night," said Father. "Good night," said Mother. "Did you kiss me?" said Francis. "Yes," said Father. "Yes," said Mother. "Kiss me again," said Francis. Father kissed her again. Mother kissed her again. They closed the door. "May I have my door open?" said Francis. Father opened the door. "Good night," said Mother. "Good night," said Father. "Good night," said Francis. Francis could not sleep. So she closed her eyes, but she still could not sleep. She began to sing a little song about the alphabet, and she made it up as she went along. A is for apple pie, B is for bear, C is for crocodile combing its hair, D is for dumpling, and Francis kept going, singing through E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. And then she had no trouble until she got to the end of the alphabet. S is for sailboat, T is for tiger, U is for underwear down in the dryer. Francis stopped because dryer did not rhyme with tiger. She started to think about tigers. She thought about big tigers, little tigers, baby tigers and mother and father tigers and sister tigers and brother tigers and aunt tigers and uncle tigers. "I wonder if there are any tigers around here," she said. Francis looked around the room. She thought maybe she could see a tiger in a corner. She was not afraid, but she wanted to be sure. She looked again. She was sure she could see a tiger. She went to tell Mother and Father. "There is a tiger in my room," said Francis. "Did he bite you?" said Father. "No." "Did he scratch you?" said Mother. "No." "Then he is a friendly tiger," said Father. He will not hurt you. Go back to sleep." "Do I have to?" asked Francis. "Yes," said Father. "Yes," said Mother. Father kissed her. Mother kissed her. Frances went back to bed and finished her song on the way. She closed her eyes again. She still could not sleep. Frances opened her eyes and looked around. She saw something big and dark. Giants are big and dark, she thought. Maybe that is a giant. I think it is a giant. I think that giant might want to get me. She went into the living room. Mother and Father were watching television and having tea and cake. Frances said, "There's a giant in my room. Maybe, may I watch television? TV?" "No," said Mother. "No," said Father. Frances said, "The giant wants to get me. May I have a piece of cake?" Father gave Frances a piece of cake, and Father said, "How do you know the giant wants to get you? Isn't that what giants do?" Father said, "Not always. Why don't you go and ask him what he wants?" Frances went back to her room. She went right over to the giant and she said, "What do you want?" She took a good look at him. There was no giant. It was just her chair and her bathrobe, so she went back to get bed again. Frances was not very tired and did not close her eyes. She looked up at the ceiling. There was a crack in the ceiling, and she thought about it. Maybe something will come out of that crack, she thought. Maybe bugs or spiders, or maybe something with a lot of skinny legs in the dark. She went to get Father. He was brushing his teeth. Frances said, "Something scary is going to come out of the crack in the ceiling." "Oh, I forgot to brush my teeth." Father said, "You brush your teeth and I'll have a look." Frances brushed her teeth. Father came back and said nothing could come out of such a little crack, but if you're worried about it, get somebody to help you. Watch. You can take turns. Frances went back. Frances told her teddy bear to watch. They took turns for a while. Then Frances got tired of it and let the teddy bear do all the watching. Frances got up and went to the bathroom. When she came back, she was not sleepy at all. The window was open and the wind was blowing the curtain. "I do not like the way the wind is blowing moving the curtain," said Frances. "Maybe there's something waiting for soft and quiet. Maybe it moves the curtains just to see if I'm watching." And she went into Mother and Father's room to tell them. Frances was very They were asleep, and Frances stood by Father's side of the bed very quietly, right near his head. She was so quiet that she was the quietest thing in the room. She was so quiet that Father woke up with a sudden and with his eyes wide open. Frances said, "There is something moving the curtains. May I sleep with you?" "Listen, Frances, do you know why the curtains are moving?" "Why?" That is the wind's job," said Father. "Every night the wind has to go around and blow the curtains." "How can the wind have a job?" asked Frances. "Everybody has a job," said Father. "I have to go to my office every morning at 9 o'clock. That is my job. You have to go to sleep so that you can be wide awake to go to school tomorrow. That is your job." "I know, but—" "And I have not finished. If the wind does not blow the curtains, he will be out of a job. If I do not go to the office, I will be out of a job. And do you know what will happen to you if you do not go to sleep right now?" "No." "I will be out of a job?" "No," said Father. No," said Father. "I will get a spanking?" "Right," said Father. "Good night," said Frances, and she went back to her room. Frances closed the window and got into bed. Suddenly there was a noise outside the window. She heard bump and thump, bump and thump. "I know something will get me this time," she thought. She jumped out of her bed and went to tell Mother and Father. When she got to their door, she thought about it some more and decided not to tell them. She went back to her room, and Frances heard the noise at the window again. She pulled the covers over her head. "I wonder what it is," she thought. "If it's something very bad, Father will have to come and chase it away." She pulled off the covers and stood on her bed so that she could look out the window. She saw a moth bumping against the window. Bump and thump. His wings smacked the glass. Whack and smack. Whoo! Whack and smack made Frances think of a spanking. And all of a sudden she was tired. She lay down and closed her eyes so she could think better. She thought, there were so many scary giants and tigers uh, and scary and exciting things before that I am pretty tired now. That is just a moth, and he is doing his job just as the same as the wind does his. His job is bumping and thumping. So she went to sleep and did not get up until her mother woke her up for breakfast. Bedtime for Frances.